me a little bit about your character?
My character's name I would call is Reluflissy. She is a
Reluflissy.
Eulutian.
She is a Eulutian.
Yeah.
Cool. I hope I've
Female, of
spelled that right.
course.
Right, Eulutian. Okay.
I've already kind of decided what kind of hobby she would like as well.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Let me just write
Yeah.
down what the faction is. But before we talk
Mm.
about her hobby, why don't you tell me a little bit about her? What is she on a high level? You know, what concept are we running with here for the character in general?
She wants to try and go on a peaceful path for the resistance because of what has happened before their previous scenarios. Like, it makes it more terrorism than
Right.
peaceful.
So she's in there trying to, calm everything down, trying not to resort to violence as the first
Mm.
sort of the first resort, for the first thing that they
Yeah.
do. She doesn't want to be going in guns blazing. She wants to find a peaceful option that
Mm.
doesn't involve people dying so that they aren't seen as terrorists.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
That
It
that is
is.
actually
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So sort of a pacifist, but
Mm.
not quite. Sort of
Yeah. Pacifist, not
almost like a mediator. Um,
quite. Mm.
Concept. Someone who wants to end the wars. You want to
Yeah,
bring peace
basically.
to the consortium,
Mm.
and if I understand right, you agree with the resistance's ideals that the Big Seven, the consortium
Mm.
companies, the Senate, they're wrong, but you don't want to go
Mm.
around killing everyone who disagrees with you, which
No, no,
maybe is resorted to a bit quickly in your character's opinion.
yeah.
In general.
Mhm, mhm. It's just, I feel like pitching a scenario. Which would you rather do if you're trying to get through like important situations? Would you rather try your best to talk it out, or just go in gun blazing, blind as a bat? Basically enough.
And you'd
The,
rather, whenever possible, would that include minimizing casualties as well? So if you get into
yeah.
combat, are you then
Mm,
ruthless? If by the time they've gone that far, they're dead. We're done. Or are you more like, okay, well, let's capture them, let's leave them alive, let's leave them to tell the tale, even though that might mean
mm,
they can identify you?
yeah.
Uh,
I would say that for her specifically, she doesn't want to be straight on killer,
mm,
which is not what she goes for her um moral, I guess you could
mm.
say. She feels like, look, you still have a chance. You're wounded at the moment, but you still have a chance to speak and like cooperate. And now
So
is the time to
she wants to
shine.
give people the opportunity to turn their lives around.
Basically, yeah.
You said that you had a hobby in mind for her. What's her hobby?
Well, I feel like for her, she likes to like learn different things around the world. So I was thinking books.
She likes to read.
Yeah, she likes to read.
So I'm
She
going to
likes
put
to gain as
reading.
much knowledge. Yeah, yeah.
Because they
She
don't
like
have books per se for the most part.
mm, like codexes or something like that. She likes reading like maybe some new information or something like that.
Yeah,
If
I mean they
that's
use data
possible.
pads, right? They use data. They don't have literal books. They have sort of data pads
Mm,
with, like, think a Kindle with thousands and thousands of books on it, right? It is
yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
technology is what they use. But yeah, that's awesome. What about a quirk? Have you thought about a quirk for her?
Oh, great. Okay.
I mean, kind of. You've already really explained one to me, which is kind of like pacifist tendencies.
Yeah,
You're trying to avoid combat. So what I'm
yeah.
probably
Her.
going to do is I'll give you a bonus when you're trying to sort of, if someone looks like they're not going to be persuaded, you might get a
Mm,
bonus to not running away, or maybe an opportunity to try again. But on the other hand, you're going to, in every possible situation, you're going to try and avoid getting into combat because you would rather reform people.
yeah. to her motto, the less casualties, the better.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. And birthplace. So for Eulutians, you could be born anywhere. The main options would be Lugus, which is where the Eulutian colony ship crashed, of course, and Belisama, which is the water world where Gaia adaptation and adjustment is based.
Let's go for the water world.
The water world. Belisama.
Yeah, Belisama.
All of the planets are named after Celtic gods.
Ooh.
As a matter of fact.
Nice.
So, as a Eulutian, would you say you are small, reasonably large, average height? I mean, where do you lie?
I would say mediocre. I'm somewhere in the middle.
Sort of medium kind of height.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't even know why I bothered asking you that question because because you wear a suit almost all of the time. So, do you wear a Kiri suit or a Willa suit?
Kiri.
Yeah,
I would say Kiri suit.
So, do you wear a sort of a standard Kiri suit or do you have a unique one?
Oof.
Because the standard ones, you know, they're 5 foot tall. They probably weigh, I don't know, 50, 60 kilograms. Whereas, you know, you can customize your suit if you want to look different.
I think for like her at the moment, it would be the standard one.
The standard, right? So she is going to be 1.5 meters tall. Oops. And a weight of just about 50 kilograms, which is just about average. How old is she? So Eulutians live to 200. But I get the feeling she's on the young and naive end, if I'm honest.
She is on the young and naive end, unfortunately. I actually did write it down in the Word document as well. I decided to go for 45.
45, yes. I mean, they do mature slowly, so that's still on the young and naive end, very definitely. That's like someone who's sort of, in human terms, that's maybe 18.
18, more or less, yeah. Teenager.
Yeah. So, we now have... we're going to start with the attributes, all right, for the character now. Now that we've decided kind of on a background and on a quirk and so on, and if anyone's following along through the rulebook, you can actually find all of this stuff in pot 2. So we're moving on to the attributes, and so in rows, so we've got strength, intelligence, charisma, stamina and willpower, and dexterity, wits, and luck. Those 3 rows, and you can assign 6, 5, and 4 points to each one of those rows.
Yeah.
So which one do you think is going to be your 6th row?
6th row.
Like which one are you going to put 6 points in? So we were talking about someone who not only wants to stop combat, but also you know. Presumably is a very persuasive character.
Yes.
In order to achieve that. But also we were talking about someone who is also able to sneak around and, you know, maybe find blackmail information that would then stop people from, from fighting in the first place. Because if you can disable them through blackmail, then no one gets hurt.
Yeah, basically.
So to me, that sounds like you probably want the 5 and the 6 to be the top and the bottom rows. Which way round do you want that? Do you want to be more persuasive or more sneaky?
I say sneaky.
You want to be more sneaky than persuasive. So I would recommend that we put 6 in the bottom row here. And do you have anything in mind, or would you like me to sort of make some suggestions?
I always like a suggestion. What do you suggest?
Alright, I would recommend that, let me have a play here. I would recommend we put 3 points in dexterity, and bearing in mind you have an additional 1 point anyway, because you're a Eulutian. So you have a bonus 1 point for being a Eulutian in a Kiri suit. And then if we add 3 more, you have an impressive 5 dexterity. That's good. Yeah. And it's often paired with stealth for sneaking, so that's going to be very sneaky.
Yeah. You know, with like each of your characters, this is a question I believe I asked someone before, but just to clarify, the black dot on each of the
attributes
stats,
the attributes,
the main attributes. That black point, does that count as 1? I'm guessing.
No.
No, okay.
So
I just
the ones you get are on top of that. So what I've done, I've just added 3 black dots into dexterity, taking it up to the 4 dots plus the extra bonus 1.
Gotcha.
Right. So that's 3 in dexterity. You've got 3 points left for this row. And I would recommend 2 wits and 1 luck, I think. That way you'll have a defense of 3, which is good. And you know, you'll have some luck. You could switch it and have 4 wits and only 1 luck if you prefer. And that would give you a defense of 4 and make you better at shooting. Also, you know, probably better at piloting and faster reactions and so on. So better at adapting to situations, but maybe slightly less lucky. What do you think?
That sounds more like her, I think.
Not so lucky then.
Yeah, it's not so lucky at times, but she could still try.
Okay, so you now have a total of 5 dexterity and 4 wits and 1 luck, having spent 6 points on that row. We are now looking at probably the top row, because you're going to want quite a bit of charisma, I would think. So we've got 5 points for this row, as your next best row. So I would recommend that you probably put 3 points in charisma. Take it up to 4.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
And then I would say probably an intelligence. Well, how do you feel her strength is? Because I'm kind of envisioning it as quite a low strength.
I would say that she's not like that strong. She tries, but she knows that she can't handle like such a big weapon.
So, what I would say probably is she is quite intelligent. If naive, she is intelligent. So I would say probably put 2 points in intelligence, bring it up to 3, and leave strength at 1.
Yeah.
Probably feels appropriate from what you're saying. Which leaves us the last row. We've got 4 points to go in here. And I think again, from what you're saying, should have maybe should have an extra stamina. Maybe should have 2 stamina, but should probably have quite a high willpower to resist. You know, because she believes in what she's doing. She's not going to be persuaded by some teammate that no, killing these people is the right idea on this occasion. She's going to resist that quite hard. So I would say 3 points in willpower, taking her to a total of 4, and 1 point in stamina, giving her 2 total stamina.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah.
I should say to anyone who's listening, I'm just basing this off the character description that Casey's already given me here. So you know, I'm doing my best to deliver a character which can do what she's asked for. And anyone who listens to the other character creation, other people who've played this game, you know, they've played it a few times before. They've made some other characters. They've got a bit more experience in how the system works in character creation. Yeah. So I'm giving Katie a bit more of a hand than I have done with others.
Yeah, because I'm a newbie. Enough said.
Okay, so let's talk skills now, right?
Right.
And again, these work in rows. So you have 11, 7, and 4 to spread between the rows. And you did say you were more sneaky. Would you describe her as observant?
I would say that she's quite observant in her surroundings, yes.
Okay. And if someone grabbed her from behind, would her reaction be to punch them, you know, elbow them? Would she grab her sword and stab them? Or would she pull out her gun and shoot them in the head? You know, like what would be the reaction if you ended up in combat?
I don't think she'll shoot him straight in the head. Because
in the kneecap,
less casualties the better.
Maybe in the kneecap.
Maybe in the kneecap, but not in the head.
But she'd go for her gun rather than try to fight them off physically. We did say before she's quite weak.
Yeah, yeah.
However, I would recommend, I think we're going to give her 1 brawl. I think she can fend for herself. She's had a little bit of training. You know, and if someone does grab her, you know, she can at least struggle and try and escape. You said that she's got a lot of investigation. You said that she's observant, I should say, which I'm translating to a fair amount of investigation. So I think that your personal row is going to be the one that you put 11 points in.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're going to want stealth as well. You're probably going to want some larceny because you did say about sort of climbing into areas where you're not supposed to be and so on.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to have 3 investigation.
Okay.
I think you're going to have 2 larceny. That brings us to a total of 6 so far.
Okay.
4 stealth. Because you did say she's good at sneaking.
Mm-hmm.
And we've then got 1 more point we can spend. So it could go in survival, it could go in melee, or it could go in more larceny, more investigation, maybe even more brawl. What do you think?
I think for her it would be more like her survival instincts more kicking in if she was in a dire situation. So I say 1 in survival.
Okay, 1 in survival. Awesome. So that's 11 points on that row, if I'm counting right. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, perfect. So I'm going to skip down to the interaction row now. And we're going to talk about her interaction skills. So we're going to have 7 points in this row.
Yeah.
I definitely think she's probably got to have some persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking she probably has 4 persuasion, to be honest.
Yeah. She's more of a talker, not a fighter, honestly. So
Indeed. Now, we've already talked about blackmail. Would that be something she would resort to?
If in dire need, probably, yeah.
Let me put it this way. Would she resort to it over intimidation? Would she rather intimidate someone, hold a gun to their head, and threaten them? Or would she rather blackmail them?
She's more likely to blackmail, I think, at that situation.
That was my feeling as well, which is why I asked that question. So I'm going to give her 2 commercial skill.
Commercial.
And finally, I would be tempted to put 1 in either intimidation or seduction. For your 7th point here.
I would say more imitation, to be honest.
Intimidation, yep. Okay, so 1 intimidation. Okay, so that's 7 points. And then we've got 4 to put in technical.
Oh, boy.
Now, you've already said that she uses a gun. So my instinct is that she has 3 gunnery.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Gunnery, there we go. There it is.
And given that she's going to hack into people's records to get hold of their information, I would suggest maybe 1 computer.
Yeah.
Now,
more likely for her case. So.
Oh, yes. And there is reason to my choice of 3 gunnery, because 3 gunnery will unlock the gunnery specialty for you, aimed shot. Now the thing that this does is it means that you can aim for a headshot for an easier kill, but you can also aim for an arm shot that will disable attack, or a leg shot that will stop people running away. And if you aim for the arm or the leg, it is impossible to kill someone by mistake, which absolutely sounds like something that she would do in combat.
Yes. Most likely.
So that's the reason that I've chosen 3 gunnery in this case. Now, she is not a level 1 character. She's in fact a level 3 character.
That's right. Yep.
So that means that you get some bonus points to spend in the things that we've already done. You will get 2 bonus attribute points. And looking at this, my thought is there are sort of 2 choices here. You can either go for the defense option, and you can increase your wits. That'll also increase, often it'll increase when you attack. Wits gunnery is a very common combination.
Yeah.
It'll increase her reaction time, but it will spend both points on wits.
Right.
Alternatively, you could go for something like, I said there were 2 choices. Actually, there are 4 choices, but they're in 2 groups. You could also increase her charisma. That will increase how persuasive she is. It'll make her more likely to achieve, the persuasion kind of goals or the blackmail kind of goals. And that also would cost both of your points to increase your charisma by 1.
Yeah.
Now, alternatively, you could look at some of the things that you are less good at, and maybe increase your strength or your luck. to more than 1.
Mm.
So it really depends. Do you want to spread out and be better at sort of things that you aren't so good at now? Or do you want to be really, really good at the things that you're now really quite good at?
I was thinking like 1 for luck, I think.
Okay. And then you can either put... unfortunately, the only other things you can do are strength, stamina, or intelligence. Strength, stamina, or intelligence. Yes, that's right. So, or you can add a second one to luck. But from what you said, I believe you only want 1 extra luck.
Yeah, one extra luck would be nice.
Or there is an alternative. You could actually save the point.
That's true as well.
And when you level up, you'll get another attribute point that you can then spend to increase whichever stat at that time you decide you need.
I'll save it then.
You'll save the point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it next to your willpower as a brackets 1. But it's a saved point. It's not committed to willpower. I'm going to make your notoriety 0. I don't think anyone's really heard of you. You know, like if you were to go out in if you were to go out in public, no one would know who you were.
No.
Which is actually kind of a good thing. So your speed is going to be your dexterity plus your strength plus your size. So that is 5 plus 5. It is 10. Is your speed.
Oh, that sounds much better.
Your encumbrance is going to be strength plus stamina plus size, which is going to be 7.
Okay.
Your initiative is going to be wits and willpower. That's 8. That's not bad. That's pretty good, to be honest. And your defense is going to be the lower of your wits and your dexterity, which is 4.
Okay.
Which is, again, respectable. Very respectable, really. Right, we now have 4 points to add into your skills.
Right.
And again, if you want to increase your stealth or your persuasion, that will cost 2 points. You can also boost... so these can go anywhere. So you no longer have the 1174 limitation. So, you know, if you wanted to boost something in technical more, you could absolutely do that. So really, again, you kind of have a similar kind of choice. You have a choice between boosting stuff you're already good at or getting a wider array of things that you're less good at.
I think me, most likely at the moment, would focus on technical.
I mean, you don't have to spend them all in the same place. You can literally spend anything on anywhere, right?
Right.
So, for example, you could put another dot in persuasion for 2 points, then spend 1 on medicine and 1 on gunnery. I'm choosing random examples here.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could put 4 points in engineering if you wanted. I mean, you've got a very passable intelligence, and you could become a really pretty decent engineer if you wanted.
I would say 2 in engineering.
2 in engineering.
2.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
you might want to consider another 1 in gunnery, because it's cheap and it does increase your combat skill, your primary combat skill.
Yeah, so I'll do that then. Put 1 in gunnery. Last one. Let's put it in computering, I think.
I might recommend you consider medicine.
Medicine?
It's good to be skilled, even if it's only 1 point, because it means that if you do end up healing someone, you're not rolling an unskilled roll. So, I mean, you do already have a medic. Your medic is also a computer guy. I'm not trying to replicate all the skills or anything. I mean, you certainly have other areas, but I would recommend you consider it. You certainly don't have to, but knowing a little bit of field medicine,
you do make a good point.
Might mean if you need to scrape up the healer, it's happened.
Yeah. I mean, okay, now that you mentioned that, you do make a good point, so I would say 1 to medicine as well.
1 in medicine. Okay then. Yeah. So there's the 1 in medicine. There we are. Yeah. Alright, so you've now spent all of your points in both your skills and your attributes.
I saved the points for the attribute, didn't I though?
Yes. Sorry, yes. Sorry, I mean you have dealt with all of the points. There are no further points that we need to think about. So what I thought we would move on to next is specialties.
Okay.
And we've already spoken about one of those, which is aimed shot, which I'm under the impression that you do want. It's a gunnery specialty. And it will halve your dice, but it will mean that you can aim for the head, arm, or leg, which means that you don't have to be lethal with your shots.
Okay.
Now, looking at your skills, I would recommend you consider a few things. You have 5 total specialties, so you do have quite a number to choose from. You're obviously trying to be stealthy, so I would recommend you consider the racial bonus for Ulutians in a Kiri suit, which is called Chameleonic Skin.
Ooh.
And what that does is, unless you are wearing something which is preventing it, specifically, really, a stealth suit, which gives you +5 stealth when it's turned on, it gives you +2 stealth.
Nice.
So even if you're wearing armor, you will actually have an automatic +2 stealth because your body changes to be the same color as what's behind it. So chameleonic skin, I can spell that, I promise. Which gives you an automatic +2 stealth that I'm just going to add in as bonus dots here. 1 second, 1, 2. There we go. 2 dots. Bonus in stealth. Now, there are some other specialties. I would definitely think that looking at your persuasion and the fact that you are looking to be very persuasive, you want one of 2 things. One of them is in the core rulebook, and one of them is in the revival expansion. But they boil down to the same thing. You get a bonus 50% dice when you are persuading someone.
Oh, crikey.
However, it depends how you are persuading them. So one of them is called Honest Face, and you get a bonus 50% dice when you are lying.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The other one is called Genuine. And that means you get a bonus 50% dice when you are telling the truth. Now, they are mutually exclusive. You cannot have both. Right?
Question is, would she lie more or would she be honest more?
To me, it sounds like she would try to tell the truth most of the time.
Yeah, she would.
She's the kind of person who would walk up to a guard and go, yes, we're the resistance, but we do have you outgunned, and if you don't surrender, my friends are going to kill you. Yeah. Sorry.
Basic terms. Basic terms.
So to me, it sounds like she has the genuine, which is plus 50% persuasion when she's telling the truth.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking through the various skills that you have. Unfortunately, you only have 2 engineering, so you don't qualify for an engineering specialty. But you do have 3 investigation, and there are several investigation specialties. Although I'm not really sure that they apply to your character very well. If I'm honest. There is a stealth specialty, which is called Instant Concealment. Now that allows you to turn invisible instantly by rolling double stealth. And it means you enter stealth mode. So you vanish. And to me that sounds like something that maybe she would want, because if she's standing there talking to someone and it's not going very well and then she's got to run away and hide, she might go, whoop, I'm gone.
Yep.
Right?
She's most likely like that.
To me, it sounds like she might want the instant concealment specialty.
Yeah.
There are 3 things that I can see that may appeal to you that aren't reliant on stats.
Okay.
So the first one is called Taking the Initiative. Now, Taking the Initiative allows you, whenever you enter combat, to choose where in the order you go. Right? And you can refine that every round. Now, the thing about this is that means that she could maybe... You enter combat, but then she has the opportunity to persuade them to stand down. Because she can choose to act first, before anyone's fired any guns, which could give her the opportunity to do that. That's why I thought that might interest you. Secondly, your encumbrance is very low. It's only 7. There is a specialty called Workhorse, which allows you to increase your encumbrance by 50%. Now, that's not very many, but it is a significant increase relative to what you have now. There are specialties that you can choose which increase your attributes.
Mm-hmm.
So, you remember how you saved that 1 attribute point?
Yes.
If you wanted, you could take a specialty that increases your charisma by 1 attribute point and then spend the attribute point to have the extra charisma.
Ooh.
However, it is possible to argue that that's a bit of a waste of a specialty, because specialties can give you some very powerful things.
True.
So I would recommend that you think about those 3 things and try and figure out what sounds best to you. She's going to believe that everyone is going to run ahead of her and run into combat, because that's what the resistance is like, right? I mean, everyone knows the resistance just runs into combat, they get themselves in trouble, and if they'd just thought about it, or if someone had just been there to help, and slow things down and say, hey, hang on a minute, maybe we don't need to fight. You know, and taking the initiative would allow her to always go first to be able to do that, right?
That sounds more effective than the extra attribute point. So yeah, I'll take the initiative one.
Okay, taking the initiative. So you have 5 specialties, just to summarise. You have aimed shot, which... Oh, I don't know why I wrote aimed shot. It's cooled shot. I'm very sorry.
Cold shot.
It's cooled shot.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's not aimed shot. Aimed shot allows you to miss a turn to add gunnery dice to your roll, and probably people who know the game, you know, who are following along with the rulebook, they're like, "What is he talking about?" Ah. Okay, so there's cooled shot. There's chameleonic skin, which allows you to have the extra stealth points that we talked about. There is genuine, which gives you 50% extra dice when you are telling the truth. When you are telling the truth. There is instant concealment, which allows you to turn invisible as a free action. And there is taking the initiative, which allows you to choose your place in the initiative order. Now, you've got 2 stamina, which means you're allowed up to 2 implants because you are level 3. There's an EMP device, which would actually disable a lot of sort of combat equipment. And I could see how you might want that.
Yeah.
EMP module, it's called. You want that one?
EMP. Yeah, EMP sounds good. Backpack, what's that called?
Pack back.
Oh, pack back. Okay.
Yeah, bad jokes. Right, so that's giving you a +3 encumbrance bonus.
Right.
Alright, let me just write that in for you. Here we go.
So what does that make in total?
10.
Then
10 encumbrance. Okay, so next we're going to talk equipment. Now, for equipment, what I've decided is that you will each be limited to a maximum of 4 pieces of equipment.
Okay.
Right, that allows you to have a shield, a weapon, some armor, and then a miscellaneous item. Alright. So, the first thing to think about, I would recommend, is probably armor in your case. So there are 2 major choices, one of which I've already mentioned, the stealth suit. 3 major choices for you.
Yeah.
My bad. There's the stealth suit, but I've kind of disregarded that because you've already got the chameleonic skin. It'll give you 5 bonus, but that would mean you've wasted a specialty. Why would you want that?
Exactly. Yeah.
It also might look suspicious, like, in general. So then there are 2 other choices. So there is light armor, and that does not restrict your dexterity to anything less than 8. So with 5 dexterity, you would not be restricted by this armor, but it only offers very limited protection, right? Alternatively, there's medium armor, which looks more like what you'd expect to see on a soldier, but that limits you to 4 dexterity,
right?
Which effectively eliminates your racial bonus. So that's a choice you need to make between light and medium armor, really.
Light and medium armor.
As you have quite low encumbrance, it's also worth noting that light armor is only encumbrance 1, whereas medium armor is encumbrance 2.
Okay. I think she would rather like move about more. So
That's my feeling as well. And also, not only that, but you've kind
yeah,
of wasted an attribute point if you wear medium armor, right?
yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to say you are wearing light armor,
Light.
which has an encumbrance of 1, a damage of 0, and a kill of +1. Which means that your kill threshold is +1.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the good news about taking the light armor, it means you have quite a lot of encumbrance left to start thinking about a shield. Now, shields are energy shields that can repel melee and ranged attacks, and even explosives. But they aren't very good against brawl.
No.
People can reach straight through them. So there is a shield 3, which is encumbrance 1, a shield 5, which is encumbrance 3, and a shield 10, which is encumbrance 8. In theory, you do have enough to carry a shield 10 and still carry one of the lighter weapons in the game. However, the lighter weapons are not very effective against armored opponents.
I'll go for like the 5.
Yeah, okay, so the shield 5 is an encumbrance 3 item, and it gives you 5 points of shield, which I'm just going to add in on the right hand side here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I didn't do, I've just realised, is I did not add your health, which is going to be size 4 plus stamina 2, which is 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. There's also pain as well. Would that be different?
Health and pain actually run off the same stat. So, what I'm actually wondering is, would she take a needler? Now, a needler always has a damage threshold of 9. And what it does is it causes... There are 2 types. There's a tranquilized status that it can cause, so you can do a non-lethal... So a non-lethal injection that will knock the person out. Or you can do a lethal thing that will poison them. And you actually then have that choice, because every needler carries both... Oh, no, it doesn't. I'm sorry. You have to choose which kind of rounds you want. My bad. Yeah, you have to choose which kind of rounds you want between those 2, but to me it sounds like she would carry a non-lethal needler. The good news is that it ignores armor. So no matter how good their armor is, you can always push it through the armor, and you have the same effectiveness, whether they're wearing light armor, medium armor, heavy armor, whatever.
Yeah.
I should say it won't work on vehicles.
Yeah. She wouldn't aim at a vehicle anyway.
It does actually... You don't actually have to be right at point-blank range, although you can use it like that. It can actually fire at 10 meters. So you don't have to be standing right next to them. You can be a little way away and fire at them. It's also totally silent. Which means that you don't need to have a silencer in order to have a silent weapon.
Yeah.
So to me, that sounds like a very, very logical choice.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go for a needler.
Okay,
because
so you
that
have a
sounds
needler. And I'm going to put tranquilize. Tranquilizer rounds. And that's encumbrance 1. So you've so far consumed 5 encumbrance in total.
Oh wow.
Which leaves you quite a bit left. Which does mean that if you want it, you could have the engineering kit. You've got the space. So what do you think?
Yeah, let's go for the engineering kit. It sounds very useful.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounds like something that you would use. You do have 2 engineering. You know, it'll double your engineering. To me, that sounds worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
+2 engineering. And that. Just to make it a bit more clear. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to add 2 extra bonus points into engineering.
Okay.
If I can find it. There it is. There we are. Right. So you now have 4 engineering when you are using your engineering kit. Now, obviously, that doesn't necessarily apply to knowledge-based stuff.
No.
So you won't always be able to use it, but in a lot of cases you will be able to. Your character wants to end all of the wars. Wants the resistance to be as peaceful a movement as possible, so they aren't seen as terrorists anymore.
Yeah.
And to that end, she's got a lot of charisma. She's very intelligent. She's got a lot of willpower. She's a bit stubborn, maybe. She's also very dexterous. Not hurt by her racial bonus. And she's very quick-witted. She's got great reactions.
Yeah.
She wears light armor and carries a shield. She uses a needler in combat, which only carries tranquilizers, and she has an engineering kit. So we may want to think later about whether we equip you with another kind of weapon as well. But as an initial character, you have got 2 encumbrance left, so it would be possible to take something else in theory.
Yeah.
As an initial character, you've used up all of your slots. So you've got high stealth, high investigation, high gunnery, and high persuasion, with a decent score in engineering thanks to your engineering kit. And you have cold shot, chameleonic skin, genuine, instant concealment, and taking the initiative. And your implants are the EMP module and the packback. So I'm going to save that character sheet now, and we will see you on game day.
Yeah.